All right, I think we are live. Supposedly, they tell me. I don't know. I have no idea.
Who are they? They tell me.
They tell me. The computer people.
The computer people. The people that live inside of the computer.
They say we're live, but I don't know if we are or not. I think we are. Let me take a look here. Yes, we are live.
All
wow.
right.
Okay, well, there you go.
Welcome.
Yeah, welcome, welcome. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Extreme Health Radio. We appreciate you guys being here. And
what a week.
You missed the inaugural 400th episode.
Boo, I know.
I know, right?
Yeah. And you told me way after the fact, so wasn't happy with you. Busted. But hey, you know what? I was having fun.
That's okay.
I went on a retreat.
That's right. How was that? You didn't. I don't think you really talked about. Have you talked about that since?
I don't think I've talked about the retreat.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a week ago, and it feels like a lifetime ago. But yeah, I went for 3 days with my best friend up to Montecito, where our good friend Adam Bergstrom lives.
That's right.
Got to make a note of him here, and had a great time. We do it a couple times a year, and yeah, it's like you're out in nature. There's all these trails and just beautiful oak trees and things all around you, labyrinths to walk, peace gardens. It was really, really powerful time. Did
you and Robin do any hikes? I forgot to ask you. Did you?
We did not do the hikes this time because, it rained. It thundered and lightninged.
Oh, right.
After Robin said a prayer and did a rain dance, it actually rained and the heavens opened up. She didn't do a rain dance.
No.
But yeah, she asked God to lower the temperature because we were in the middle of this horrible heat wave.
Oh, that's right.
And yeah, she said, if God, if you could just lower the temperature a little bit. And she literally had her phone out, was checking the weather, and it said like 85 degrees and humid or whatever.
Yeah.
And then she said that out loud about, hey God, could you lower the temp and just give us a break and let us enjoy that? Because the little house we were staying in, this hermitage, was so stinking hot. Mm-hmm. And so then she goes back, she went and walked and grabbed a cup of coffee, came back and refreshed the weather. Uh-huh. She's like, oh, it says it's going to be, God has dropped the temperature for us. It's supposed to be raining and thunder and lightning and drop about 10 degrees or something crazy.
No way.
And and she thought that was at 1 o'clock. And it literally happened 10 minutes from when she said that. So it was like 9 a.m. Wow. So it was like way off, and we just enjoyed ourselves. And
there's nothing wrong with that.
Sat on the porch, drank tea in the pouring rain, and just were together, and it was really magical.
Here's a philosophical question for you.
Okay.
What if there's two people in the same city, and one's praying for rain and one's praying for sunny skies? What does God do?
I think we need to try to test that out. I'd be the one praying for rain. You'd be the one praying for sunny skies.
I guess at the very least, it would show you how powerful your prayer skills are.
See who's more connected with God.
Yeah, see who God likes better.
The big guy likes more.
It's not whether or not there's a God or not. It's to see whether or not you can test him and see if he'll answer your prayers. It's whether or not he likes you.
Good one. Yeah. I think we should try it out.
I always thought about that.
Whether or not he likes you.
Because you know how people say, people bring in God to sports games and things like that. Like, oh, I'm praying for my team to win the finals or whatever. But then you got to think there's equally amount of other people that are praying for their team. So how does God do that?
Thank God he's God and he can figure it out. I think God is
the bigger
more
questions
concerned.
In life.
The bigger what?
The bigger questions in life.
Yeah, it's true though. You think about stuff like that. You're like, how are countries or people with different beliefs praying against each other? And some get answers, some don't. Yeah. I think it's because God just has the best in mind, like whatever the bigger picture is. Mm-hmm. I don't know. So then that brings up the whole, okay, then what is the power of prayer? And it seems to be proved. I was watching some YouTube video this week about the power of prayer. I only watched it for a second, and I want to go back to it. But it was basically a medical study on the power of prayer and like speaking in tongues, like being baptized in the Holy Spirit and speaking and praying in tongues as a medical study. And it actually had all these like amazing results, like in the medical community. So I'm like,
wow.
Yeah, bizarre. We'll have to find that and put a link to it. But
that's funny.
So I don't know. I mean, what does that mean about prayer? I don't know. Like, yeah, God obviously hears everyone's prayers, but I guess he's God and he's answering how he feels things should go. But
yeah, I saw something the other day on the computer on YouTube or something where you ever seen it was a funny video where someone made it was like a kind of a mockery of like the Benny Hinn videos,
Oh gosh, yeah.
And all that. And you know how they, in the videos they like, power of God and they do this kind of thing.
Like slay people down.
In the edited version of the video, it looks like he's throwing like a fireball to the person. The person just falls over.
It's like hitting him in the forehead.
Yeah,
Bam.
and all these people fall over. But it was
oh, funny.
It was just really weird to see that though. Like I'm not even sure if Benny Hinn is still going around doing that kind of stuff. But
Benny Hinn's still in business.
Yeah, if he's still in business.
Kind of makes you wonder. I know. What do you think about that kind of stuff? Do you think, I mean, watching it, obviously the fireball thing is funny, but do you think that I mean, I think there's times when that's real for people and other times where it's just a big show, but
I think that that kind of stuff, it's not, I think it could be real for sure. But I think that I don't think any of it's real with those guys.
I think it's just a big dog and pony show.
I mean, I don't know if it's real. If it's real with those guys, it's going to be on account of, I would guess, on account of the person receiving it. Because I just feel like those guys are just, they're in for a dog and pony show, you know.
Yeah.
These faith healers and all that.
All smoke and mirrors kind of thing. If
God does heal them, it's I think it's the mercy and grace of God to do that, or the faith of the person receiving it, in spite of these people like Benny Hinn.
yeah. In spite of, that's a good way to.
You know,
it seems so opulent, so like just this public display of weirdness.
I know. Weird.
I feel like if stuff like that, I believe stuff like that happens to people, but it just makes you want to believe that it happens more in private instead of these big public showings. Because there's thousands of people that go to those, and
I know.
I don't know. It's
bizarre.
I think it's a little strange.
So Montecito was good. You were there for how many days? Were you there?
2 nights, 3 days.
2 nights, 3 days. It was a
blast. Yeah.
That's cool.
It was cool.
So you usually go there by yourself, don't you? Or how many times have you been there by yourself?
I went twice by myself, and ever since then, I think I started going like a year and a half ago only. And then the last 3 trips I've had, my friend Robin's gone with me. And actually, it's funny, like there's times to go by yourself, I think, where it's just a different experience. And then there's a lot of power with going with somebody who you really connect with on like a soul level. Because having someone else in your space, just to have someone else in your space is annoying.
Right.
Because I do get a lot. I glean a lot.
So I can tell Robin that.
Yeah, you can tell her that. You didn't let me finish. If you went, you'd be annoying me. I'm just kidding. No. But there's something about people that you don't get annoyed with. Like I could take you and I just love it. I could go with Robin any day of the week, and I love it. So yeah, I don't know. She doesn't exhaust me. There's people that, we were talking about this, there's people that just drain you, and people that give life to you, and then people that also you can travel with and can't. There's just people that don't necessarily drain you, but you're just not a good traveler with, you know, like you do life so different that it becomes more of a stress than like a good experience. And when you're going for like a spiritual retreat, a getaway, that's the last thing you want to deal with.
Would you ever go to, remember we're listening to that Hay House Summit? I think it was it Robert Holden or someone was talking about how he would do these silent retreats like that. But then he realized, like, he brought his iPod and he brought his books and he brought all this stuff. And then he realized, you know what, this isn't silent. Like I'm not doing what I'm saying I'm doing. And so the second time he went with like no books, no nothing, no iPod, no phone, no anything. And just was, I guess, silent. I don't remember. Do you remember that guy?
Yeah, I remember somebody. I do remember. I don't remember who it was. You might be right. It might have been Robert Holden, but
somebody like that.
Yeah, somebody like that. But
could you do that?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
You could go. That would be hard because I like to have my iPod. I don't care about having a phone. Obviously, I don't have one. But to have things to listen to and have books, it would be hard just to have nothing. You know?
Yeah.
That would be hard, wouldn't it? Because what would you do?
I think I'm okay with no noise. Like it wouldn't be a big deal to not have my phone or my iPod or anything like that. But you're right. I guess if you had nothing to read, I mean, that's a real retreat though. That's really getting back out to your roots of nature and reconnecting with your soul and just letting God and nature speak to you.
Right.
I don't know. That would be hard. I could probably do it for like a day and then I'd be bored out of my mind actually.
Yeah, I mean, you could only meditate for so long and then sleep, but I guess you could hike and things like that.
You could hike, you could sleep, but it's hard in a place like that because when you hike, you go out of the Casa's grounds and you end up like in neighborhoods, like really wealthy, Oprah type $1 million neighborhoods, probably multi-million-dollar homes, and you're going back around, so you're running across like, you know, the occasional gardener or groundskeeper. There's people, you see people, so it's like almost to get away, you'd have to be out in the middle of nowhere. So, I mean, even if it's silent, you still feel part of society, which I feel like if you could just remove yourself from that for a couple of days, it'd be so cool. Be hard, but it'd be cool.
seems like I don't know. I think that we need to do that more, don't we? Like I need to do that more, get out and go. See, for me, the equivalent of like a soul replenishing thing would be to go on a surf trip with some friends or something, you know? Something like that. I think that would be cool. You know, it's funny, like a lot of women don't do or aren't into doing what you do, you know? Like our next door neighbor, Teresa, she does that, you know?
Does it. She does it a couple times a year and just leaves the husband and kids. And I mean, she has kids and she goes, easy for me to go because we don't have any children. But I feel like it needs to be a return to for men and women.
Do any of your friends do that?
By themselves or just
just go away by themselves?
Teresa might be the first one I've had in my life, like a close friend that does that.
And that's it, right?
I think that might be it. Growing up in the church and stuff, you have women's retreats where a bunch of you go and you go away for X amount of time.
But that's not like kind of like by yourself.
It's not by yourself.
Yeah.
I love being by myself. I mean, I told Robin on this retreat, I love to go to movies by myself. I just love to be alone. That's how I get restored.
Yeah.
You know, they always say like the introverts or extroverts, you can, if you're not sure and you're on the fence, which I don't know if this is completely true, but ask yourself, how do you get replenished? How does your energy get restored? Is it by being alone or being with other people?
Oh, right.
And mine is by being alone, but I used to think I was such an extrovert, but I actually think I'm just such a extroverted introvert. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm a real introvert.
Right.
But I have extrovert tendencies and people would never know that, but I get my replenishment from being alone.
Yeah. You know, you do really well. Like if we, like, you know how all those parties you throw?
Oh, thank you.
But you do really well, like mingling and stuff like that.
Yeah. I'm like, a good mingler.
Good small talker.
Thanks. Yeah. I can talk a room up.
I'm not so good at that. I'm like you though. I'm a introverted extrovert, I guess. I mean, I have no problem talking with people about interesting things. And you and I talking like this, you know, this is listened to thousands of people, and I'm not shy at all.
No.
But if there's a party and there's something going on, I would be most likely just kind of
clammed up.
Well, back, you know, I wouldn't be really the one like mingling and all that, you know.
You're cool. Like I can take you to a wedding, and you've been to many with me because I know. Thank you. Because it's not. I was going to knock on wood, but that wasn't appropriate. That was weird. Yeah, well, you've been to a wedding with me. Knock on wood.
That's odd.
That's weird. No, but you've been to many things, and you hold your own. But I know what you mean. There's just certain. I don't know. I think it's because of those 16 years of doing hair. Like
you've had to.
You just really jump in full on, and you create a comfort zone with the people around you, and. Yeah, I don't know. Like, but I don't really like that. I can do it.
You can do it fine.
Yeah, I can throw a dinner party. I can go to a wedding and with the best of them. I really can work a room. Like, and that's what Robin's good at too. Like, we're both these people that like to make everyone feel comfortable. Yeah. And I think we're both pretty good at it. Like, we've worked with people. Right. A lot of people are really good at it, and a lot of people just suck at it. And that's one of I have to say that's a talent that I'm really happy I've been able to cultivate. And I don't know. It's a God-given thing, I guess. But
to me, that whenever I'm done with a party like that, or whenever I'm done, it's so draining. I'm so tired. It totally zaps my energy. Mm-hmm. Talking with a lot of people like that, and it's really, really weird. It's funny how we all work, though, isn't it? It's weird how we just sort of bleed our energy in different ways. Some people, but some people. I mean, it's got to drain everybody, but some people seem to get power off of that. You know?
Yeah, you're right.
It's weird.
Yeah.
How is that? I mean,
I know people that just can't be alone.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Do you know people like that?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I know people that literally cannot be alone. Like, they get home, they have to change, and they have to like get right back out again, or they have to have people around them, and it's to me that would drive me bananas. But yeah. I mean, no judgment, but I have to think on a deeper level what's going on. It makes you kind of wonder, like, why can't you be alone? Yeah. It's a deeper question.
Well, isn't there that quote that was really good? Something like, I forget who said it, Pascal or something, like, all of man's problems are his inability to be alone in a dark room for 24 hours.
Yes.
Something like that.
Is that Pascal?
Pascal.
Wow. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So it's like people just can't be alone. Like you look around at everyone and they're all looking down at their phones and things, and you just can't have any
alone time.
Yeah, just looking and being with the environment. You know.
Yeah, you know what? That's weird you brought up that quote because we went this last Tuesday, a couple days ago, to Newport Float. Our friend Ron Becker, we've had him on the show, but we're in the float tanks, and it was so neat. We hadn't done it in so long, and so we're in those float tanks, and I thought, you know, if I had to be in here for 24 hours by myself in the dark,
cue the Twilight music.
Do 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 do. Could I do it? Could I actually be alone? Not like, say I wasn't bored. You know, say you don't get bored, because I'd probably be bored out of my mind in 24 hours doing that.
Right.
But like, if boredom wasn't an issue, would I be able to be alone, like alone in that situation for 24 hours? Like, having all my senses deprived and things like that. And I don't know. That would be a real interesting, like if you got, I don't know. That'd
be hard, wouldn't it?
If you got buried alive or something. I mean, I hate to think that, but you heard about stories about people who actually climb out after they, like, if someone tries to, horrible movies and stuff.
Yeah, remember that Leonardo DiCaprio movie
coming out?
I want to see that.
They think he's dead, or they want to assume he's dead, throw him in a grave and dig him, like bury him up, and then he digs through it somehow and comes out. Yeah. And there's a scene on Kill Bill like that too. I hate those movies.
Oh, I know. I remember that.
Freaked me out. Uma Thurman.
Was she the one that was being buried or whatever?
Totally. And they put her in a wood box and put her under the ground and bury. It's horrible. And she starts hyperventilating, and it becomes this whole like, oh my gosh, it really stresses you out. But you're thinking, what would I do in that situation? Like, could I regain my composure and keep myself put together enough to be able to, I mean, in that kind of a situation, just to survive and not use up all your air or something. But, in like a float tank scenario where you're not dying and it's supposed to, it could be this really peaceful thing.
Right.
Could you be that alone with yourself in a dark place with your own mind, all alone for 24 hours, like, or more?
Well, that would be like solitary confinement.
Yeah.
Could you imagine? That would be,
and people go crazy. So I don't know.
Yeah. That would be the worst. Well, it kind of reminds me of this guy I've been listening to lately called Wim Hof.
Yeah. How do you spell it?
Wimhof. How's that for a name?
Wim Hof.
Wim Hof.
I want to get him on the show.
I know. I'm hoping to get him in studio. We're working on it.
You just found out about him a couple days ago, huh?
I did. Yeah. I just found a bunch of his stuff on YouTube and.
Yeah. What is he all about? It sounds intense.
Well, it's kind of similar to the float tank in a sense of like you really kind of tap deep within yourself, and so he teaches people how to. So he himself is like an extreme cold guy.
Okay.
So he calls cold his god.
Like he loves being cold, or he came out of the cold, or like he's just likes living where it's cold. Like, what does it mean by extreme cold?
Well, he goes and like he climbed Mount Everest in shorts and no shoes.
Seriously?
That's the kind of guy.
Okay.
Amazing. Because
he likes being cold, or he likes to defy what cold means on the human body?
I think both, and he calls like this deep spirituality. It's more of a spiritual thing with him, and so it's there's a Vice documentary I watched. We'll put a link to it.
A Vice?
VICE.
Okay.
Documentary, and he's been able to enhance the immune system and change autonomic nervous system function. And they took his blood. I think I was telling you about this the other day. They took his blood out during a time when he was being exposed. Like he spent an hour in a tank that was just filled with ice, like an hour. In there. He teaches it through specific like breathing techniques.
So his head's obviously out, but his body.
Yeah.
Unless he's submerged with a little straw sticking up. It frees your eyeballs off.
Well, it's funny you said that because he was swimming. So he did this swim to break this world record. He's like 58 years old, It's not a
young buck.
Yeah. He did this world record where they cut a hole in the ice, and then a certain amount of meters away they cut another hole, and he swam. He held his breath for like 3 or 4 minutes swimming in this like Arctic freezing cold water, and by the time he was done, his retina froze. His retina froze.
Wait, so he wasn't wearing goggles?
No.
So he had his eyes open in the water. How do you unfreeze your retina?
Well, that's the thing. It unfroze a few minutes after. But this is the type of thing where it's like it's not really for him like a physical feat. Like he's not trying to say, hey, look at how great I am. He's saying like this is just specific breathing techniques and tapping deep within yourself, and anybody can do this. And if I can regulate my immune system and I can do all these things that science previously thought were impossible to do, we all have the power to do this. So he's saying like, this has implications for depression, for pharmaceutical, its impact on people's taking pharmaceutical medications. It has impacts on cancer, on all kinds of ways because it affects your immune system. Isn't that bizarre? But it's a spiritual thing for him, which is kind of like the float tank, like you were saying, like you're just closing your eyes and can you do that, you know?
I think you're way more apt or open to testing things to the limit.
Little bit.
You love to like push limits, and you love stories and movies about people who like tap into the greatest human potential.
Yeah, last night I was watching Iceland's Strongest Man.
See, well,
so it's like the world's strongest man.
And who is he?
I don't even know what his name, but I got into this whole documentary of this guy John Paul, who he died.
Sounds like a pope.
John Paul Sigmarsson.
Whoa.
And he died deadlifting.
How?
Heart attack.
No.
Yeah. I mean, he was one of these strong men that was like lifting hundreds of pounds. Like,
holy
mackerel. Yeah. He was 32 years old, but.
Oh, when did that happen?
He was born in 1960 and died in 92.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah.
Wow.
But anyway, you're right. I'm always into like people pushing the limits and.
Yeah, you're really into and I wouldn't think, like, I'm not very interested in that kind of stuff, but I have become more so lately because I'm fascinated by what your body and your mind.
Right.
The body's amazing, but I'm never going to be that person that wants like sculpted abs and wants to go out and like run ultra marathons and do all this crazy stuff just to see if I can do it. I don't need to do that for myself.
Right.
But it's funny, like growing up with major anxiety and stuff like that, I would play a game. It's just funny that what your mind is capable of. I'd play mind games when I was at school, when I had to go to school.
Uh-huh.
You know, almost doing like the box thing, like being buried underground, going, okay, how can I be okay for one more minute? Am I okay right now? Yeah, I'm okay right now. Can I be okay? Like, don't think about, just be in it goes back to the whole being in the now thing.
Right.
But I mean, as an 8th grader, I didn't have any training. No one told me about what any of this was. But I'd be in class freaking out in my head and then going, okay, can I just make it one more minute? Okay, I made it that minute. And then be like, can I make it one more minute?
Really?
Can I? Yeah.
If you could just make it sitting in the chair, sitting in class, you mean?
Yeah. Looking at the clock on the wall, like, okay. And then somehow you'd make it through the 40-minute period. And then the bell would ring and you'd be like, okay, now it's lunch. I'm okay for a little while. And then I have to go back and then I can just play the game. And in my head, I always thought I can go call my mom. My mom would come get me from school. Mm-hmm. At any point I had this out, but let's test to see how far, like as far as testing yourself with like potential of what you can withstand or what you can, handle in your psyche, endure. And, you know, I feel like that actually contributed probably a lot to my healing of my anxiety now that I think about it.
Really?
Yeah, because you realize, like, if you tell yourself at any point there's an out, then you're okay. So it's almost like Wim Hof. He could choose to turn around or get out of the water, or, you know, if you give yourself that kind of
yeah, I know what you mean. An escape.
If you have an exit plan, it's almost like you're giving yourself permission to go farther, like to push it. Right.
That makes a lot of sense.
I can't believe his retina froze.
Yeah, his retina froze.
They blow dried it and got it warm, or like
I think they just rubbed it in between a couple warm hands, and you're good to go.
You're fine.
No, but this guy's like, he's an intense guy, and he has this great accent from. I don't even know where he's from, but it's amazing.
He's Icelandic.
Yeah.
He's from somewhere. He's from Cold Zone.
Yeah.
Wow, what makes somebody in their head wanna, I mean, did he know, like, did he do research? I mean, I can watch stuff on him, but did he do research first? Yeah. And thought, I read this about your immune system, and then he got into the cold? Or was he always like this guy who like wanted to go out and go dog sledding? Or
I don't know. I know that he got into it as a result of a trauma because his wife committed suicide, and he had like 3 or 4 kids. And his wife committed suicide, and that's how he got into it. But I'm not sure what drove him to the cold. He says it was like a spiritual calling, in a sense that like you have this destiny. Like he always knew that he would be attracted to the cold. And then he did it once after his wife passed away. And he said he knew right then and there that it was like, this is my calling for the rest of my life. So bizarre.
To be cold. I'm called to be cold.
To be cold and to teach people what it does. And then so they've been doing all kinds of scientific testing on him. And so he's bringing a lot of science and research into it that's with provable data.
See, that's crazy.
Which is cool. Yeah. So he's not just talking, out of his ass, talking about like oh, this does this or this does that or Kundalini this, but he's proving this stuff, which is bizarre.
I love when they take it to like that level. Because I think a lot of people like to prove that kind of stuff with science, backing it. Mm-hmm. So did he say that he ever is cold? Like, does he feel cold? When he's, swimming from one hole to another and freezing? I
don't think so. He's gotten to the point where he can breathe past it. And so it's one of those things where he, through the power of his breath, he's able to, like, he gets out of the water and he feels warm, he says.
Does his body feel warm to others, or he just feels warm inside?
I don't know. That's a good question. But he's been able to raise his core body temperature while in ice. Like he becomes warmer internally while sitting in ice.
By thinking about being warm?
By visualizing, by thinking, by breathing, and by just, what do you call that? Mindfulness techniques. Dang. Yeah, it's amazing. It's really amazing.
Power of your mind.
And we I don't know, were you on the show with who was the doctor we had on, Dr. Jack Cruz? Were you on that show?
Yeah, I was, yeah.
Yeah, he talked about, he calls it cold thermogenesis.
That's right.
And I forget what episode he was on, Dr. Jack Cruz, and it's Kruse.
Right.
But he talked about how he used the cold ice baths and what he calls this whole protocol he's got to lose, I think, like 100 pounds.
Right.
Without even exercising or changing his diet, just doing these cold things.
Is that basically what cryotherapy is that we're going to try out? I mean, are people doing cryo tanks or whatever you call them? Cryo tank?
Yeah, cryo chamber.
Are they doing those for weight loss as well as?
People do it for weight loss, but they don't market it for that, because if you start marketing in weight loss, it's like this shady kind of, they
new
look
weight
at
loss gimmick.
Yeah, and you can be subject to more scrutiny and stuff like that. But I mean, it's great because what happens is that the blood leaves your extremities and it goes to your internal organs. And so when the blood leaves your hands and your arms where it doesn't need to be, it goes to your internal organs. And then it starts, it almost like it becomes a stem cell, like your body creates almost like a whole new type of cell from that. And then it releases all that blood-filled oxygen to the rest of your body.
Wow.
And so it's really great.
So you're going to try it out? I'm
going to try for sure the cryotherapy.
We're going to meet our friends the Jing Slingers and go cryoing together.
Go cryo it up.
Cryo it up.
But apparently most people can only last in the chamber like 3.5 minutes.
Gosh.
And he got out at like 10 minutes. Isn't that bizarre?
Do they make you get out at 3, or most people like feel ready to get out at 3? I wonder how that works.
I think you have to get out just because it's too cold.
Oh, man.
Because it's negative 200 degrees below zero.
But you feel like, are you feeling cold? Like, does your whole body, do you feel cold?
You probably do, yeah. You probably do.
See, I want to try it, but man, like, I know it's probably really healing, but it's almost like you have to go into the place that you don't want, like, because right now my hands are freezing.
Right.
I'm just so cold.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's not even cold outside, but like they're turning white.
Yeah.
But it's like, I want to get in a sauna. I don't want to go in a freezing cold cryo chamber. I can't imagine what that would do for people with circulation things. I mean, in the end, it probably helps heal you, but at the beginning, it just does not sound like that would be a good idea to make yourself beyond cold.
Yeah, you should watch this Vice documentary.
I will.
It's so interesting.
Bring on the Vice.
Hey, so I want to welcome everyone to our
29 minutes in
our show. Tana's in the chat room.
Woo, we missed you.
Yeah, thanks, Tana, for being involved in the show, and it's good to see you again here.
We love Texas tea.
Yeah.
She had a bunch of cool things to say in the chat.
Nice.
Chat's always fun.
I know, right?
Talk about introverted and extroverted and layers and how others perceive us and expect us to be. It's hard to find your true self. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had this for a note. Kate's Disneyland Diagnosis Kids Song.
Kate's Disneyland Diagnosis Kids Song.
What could that be?
So we make notes, for people who don't know, we make notes throughout the week or the month of things that we're like,
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about that. You're right.
I have no idea what that means. Kate's Disneyland Diagnosis.
Were you in Disneyland and someone sang a song to you about being diagnosed with
a Oh, I do know what that means.
No way.
Yes, I totally know what that means.
What?
Okay.
What happened? What is this?
Well, are we introducing the show first?
Oh, you know what? Yeah, let's do that.
I'll remember. I won't forget.
Okay.
Doc McStuffins. Remember that.
Oh, Doc McStuffins. All right. I want to thank everyone for being here. This is episode 401. And I want to let you guys know, too, this show is brought to you by the Extrema Cookware. I should have said this at the beginning. But I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Extrema Cookware products. But let me go on to that website and show you what it's all about. The Extrema Cookware products is awesome because it's chemical free, has no mercury, does not leach any metal, and they have all different types of sizes and different cookware pots and saucepans and all kinds of really cool stuff. And Kate and I have been using this for a long time.
We're actually going to order our new sauce pot this week too.
Yeah, we're going to order another one.
We need another.
They've got bakeware, cookware, glassware, dinnerware, fridge stuff you can put
underwear.
in your fridge. Underwear.
Doesn't make any. You can't wear a pot.
You can't do that.
You can't put a pan on your body.
You can't do that.
Sorry. Okay.
But yeah, so if you go to the bottom of our website and you can click on the Extrema Cookware link, and it's really important to avoid toxins and heavy metals because you could have the best organic food in the world, but if you're bringing in toxins and chemicals and mercury and all this stuff that's being leached from your cookware, it's not a good thing.
Well, can I make a comment on that really quick?
Yes.
I think that's so true. And we have a couple, like a big, I don't know what you call that, like a skillet, and another one that we use to make stuff. But we also still have, unfortunately, one old Teflon sauce pot from when we got married. We've had it forever. And we've been trying not to use it because now that we've gone more, the Ceramcore, whatever route, Extrema Cookware route, it's just, it freaks me out. But occasionally there's times when you have to have 3 pots going and we'll use it, but try to not boil things in it.
Definitely moving away from that.
Definitely moving away from it. So not only are you it freaks me out to boil things in it and then ingest it, but lately I've been doing those saline sinus rinses.
Oh yeah.
And I'm thinking, my gosh, think about how many people, heat up distilled water and to get it warm in a Teflon pan and then put that in with the solution and then put it up through your sinuses. That just is it starts to freak you out on a lot of levels if you know what's really in that chemical laden dish and serveware. Yeah,
I should look and see about Teflon. There's got to be some really damaging things in there.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, it's good for a lot of uses. It might take a little bit, and it's hard to get used to kind of. You have to learn how to use your ceramic cookware because you can't just, it's not like, it heats up like a Teflon pan. It actually takes a lot longer to rise, and then you have to you don't want to cook it too high. It has to stay at a medium heat. We've experimented around without getting things stuck to it and fried to it, but we've done pretty good. Yeah,
it's really good stuff, this Extrema, and it's one of the best on the market, and it's chemical free and no heavy metals that leach. Really, really good stuff. And I highly recommend switching over time. This is the way we're doing it, switching over time all your cookware over to that, and it takes time to do that, but I think it's well worth it.
I do too.
And the show is also brought to you by our sauna, the Relax Far Infrared Sauna. And for those that don't know or know much about the sauna is a really great way to detoxify the body of heavy metals, toxins that get stored in our fat cells, environmental pollution, heavy metals, and mercury and things like that get stored in our fat cells. And it's really a great way to improve the immune system and boost the immune system by up to 40% by increasing the heat shock proteins in the body.
Who knew that was?
It's really
shock proteins.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. It's probably my favorite health gadget and tool we have, I think.
If it got taken away from me, that would be the most sad because we use it so much and we feel so good. You just feel really good and clean after you use it. You sweat like crazy and you just feel so good. If you go on to extremehealthradio.com/sauna, or there's a link on the right-hand side of the page, you'll see the sauna page, and you can see pictures of us with it, as well as Maggie. We stuck Maggie in it one time. That's right. Did we put Maggie in there? But we didn't turn it on. Let's see. Yeah, Dr. Rhonda Patrick is on there doing a video, and I got the picture of Maggie up on the website right now. Nice. But her little head is so funny in there. Her little tiny doggy head. Man, that is so funny. Isn't that cute? But yeah, so consider this. It's something that you can do for 15 minutes a day. It's portable. It's low EMF, and it requires zero preheating.
and it heats up very, very quickly.
You're sweating
like a pig,
like a hog.
Yeah, so it's good stuff.
I love it.
Yeah, I love it too.
I stinking love the sauna.
Yeah,
You know what's
great.
weird is I wasn't a big fan of sweating when you said, "Oh my gosh, you're gonna sweat," and I'm like, I don't. And I also did not sweat before this. Like I'm one of those really. I think I was so toxic.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't even sweating. I'd go for like a run, come back, and be fresh as a flower. You know.
Yeah.
And this thing makes you sweat, but it's weird for people who have it. They'll understand it's this really watery, clean sweat.
Yeah.
You don't stink.
Yeah.
You don't stink. And you come out like
you feel clean,
purged.
Yeah.
It's wild.
It's really weird.
I'm still amazed by it every time. I think I'm going to be this smelly, stinky, and I'll totally keep this on the down low. But
don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody.
I'm telling the world actually. But I'll sit in that sauna, completely sweat out my eyeballs, come out and towel off, change, and go to work. My part-time job I took just for a couple hours a week. And I'm like, well, nobody smells me. Nobody's commented because I don't smell.
Yeah,
it's the weirdest thing. I won't shower off. I know it sounds disgusting, but
it's weird because it's not like a hormonal sweat, or it's not mixed with the oiliness of your skin. It's like this clean sort of sweat that it just feels really good. It feels
really clean.
Feels like your skin's clean, and
yeah,
I think it's just, I recommend it to everybody.
I dig it.
Yeah, it's a great deal. And a lot of times with these saunas, they're so huge, and they're made of wood, and the wood ones, and you have to, knock out a wall.
Make sure you don't electrocute yourself.
Yeah, I mean, these are really great. I
dig it. I highly recommend it for this season too, because let me tell you, it is gnarly. They're calling it a 6. I have to say, I got it, and you got it too. It's called the 6-week bug.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
this horrible cold that we have going around our area, and we never hardly get sick like that kind of a sick.
Mm-hmm.
And we just got knocked out. So I'd say for people going into cold and flu, just having a sauna I think it helped speed up our recovery. And
it boosts your immune system. They've done studies by 40%. There's a really interesting video with Rhonda Patrick on there that talks about that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it.
We're going to get her on the show. I'd like to get her on.
Is she hard one to get? Is she busy?
She's busy.
Okay.
She's a busy gal.
She's a busy gal.
Hey, do you mind if I go to the bathroom real quick?
Okay.
Cool? Do you want to...
I will give some shout outs here.
Yeah, give some shout outs. I'll be right back.
I love that Tana says, I don't sweat, I sparkle. How nice is that? Thanks, Tana. I love Tana. Okay, so here we go, guys. The latest iTunes review. Sadly, we don't have one. We need some. So no one left us any reviews recently. And reviews really, really, really help us out by people who search and want to know what we're all about. So if anyone listening out there hasn't done a review, it's really easy to do. Takes a second, and we appreciate all the honest words. Some people don't like us, other people love us, but anything is good to kind of give people an idea about our show and what we're all about. So we thank you guys big time for that. And then we always like to tell our featured Amazon products that people ordered for the month of May. Someone ordered a MacBook Pro, which is awesome. I just got my new MacBook itself. It's not a Pro, it's not an Air, it's the new MacBook, but let me tell you, it is changing the way I work, and I love it. So whoever got the MacBook Pro, you're stoked, and thanks for going through our link. Someone bought aged kyolic garlic extract, which is killer. I've taken that before. And someone ordered a 90 count selenium by Innate Response, and it is selenium combined with botanicals and whole foods. So that is awesome.
Hey, you were just saying the other day you wanted to get a new selenium, didn't you?
Yeah, we need to order one. I ran out. And selenium's been a huge part of my gut healing protocol with my nutritional balancing.
That's true.
So it's been awesome. And our latest patrons, we are so stoked on you guys. We had Jordan Marakai. I'm going to butcher people's names. I'm always going to do it, so I apologize. But donated $1.
Butcher it up.
Per episode. Thank you, Jordan. And we have Derek Dopker.
Nice.
Doepker for $1 too.
Nice.
Those guys, awesome. You guys rock. And we thank you, because it wouldn't be possible to do shows without you guys. And I will also read our latest PayPal donations.
Nice.
Which is so killer.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Stefania, again, we love her. Stefania Fenuza. I don't know how to say that. Jonathan Heads, Michael Leverick, Art by Val, Lusa Wustenberg, Elliot Jolson, Christian, Barbado, Daniel Young, Heidi Lehman, Mother Nature's Pot.
Nice.
I love that one.
Nice.
Joseph Conte, Sillybird, our friend Sillybird,
yeah.
Elizabeth Moyers, and Peter Solimoisi.
Nice.
Huh?
Yeah. Thank you guys.
So we're stoked, you guys.
For keeping our show going. We're slowly becoming sustainable here.
Slowly.
Which is good.
Slow and steady wins the race.
It's always good. And I wanted to also let everyone know about our Facebook shares. So we appreciate that so much, you guys. So I want to thank Michi Naz for sharing our shows on Facebook. Sundia Raw and Melody Moon, Madeline Corrigan Gangamela, and let's see if I can say these names right. Mary Holbrook.
Okay.
Let's see, Nancy McDougall. Let's see, we've got, let's see one more time. Judith Maritsky. Let's see. Trying to read these through here.
You're better than I am, I think.
Carlos and Charlie Gonzalez and Essentially You.
Nice.
Shared our stuff on Facebook.
Nice.
Barbara Bell Dudley and Gary Cook. Let's see who else here. BetterHealthGuy.com. Katarina Schultz, Madeline Corrigan, Building Health from Within. Katarina Schulz, Madeline Corrigan. Let's see. Leslie Kotlow and Michelle Wetzel Soltzer, Eddie Sotolongo, Julie Sales, Bard. So we thank you guys so much for that.
Nice.
Yeah.
We have our friend Julio in the chat room today.
Yeah?
Listening from Red Deer, Alberta, Canada.
Nice.
Doesn't that sound like a nice place to be?
Alberta, Canada.
Red Deer.
Is that on the west coast, or it's got to be on the east coast, right, of Canada?
Oh gosh, I'm thinking east. He said it was here we go. He said it was supposed to snow today, but I think we're in the clear for a couple of days. Has to
nice.
be. Yeah, I'm horrible with Canada. Wasn't I just saying last night I want to go to Canada? I've never been to Canada.
You've never been to Canada?
Never. Have you?
Of course.
Like what, once? Have you been to Canada?
Of course.
When?
Just last week.
Mm-hmm.
No, I did go. I went with my friend Brian and my brother.
Oh.
Remember, where were you? It wasn't Brian. No, Brian met us there. A friend of mine met us there. We're in Vancouver, right north of Seattle.
Oh,
which I should have got
when you were in Seattle?
Yeah, we drove. Oh, Christian.
Okay.
We drove up there.
Okay.
And yeah.
What'd you do?
I think we
get drunk and come back.
Yeah, partied, got drunk, had some marijuana. I met.
Well, what can we do in Canada that we can't do here? What's not illegal in Canada?
Yeah, no. I just went and got food and hung out. It's cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
I've never been to Canada.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's my goal in the next year is to get to Canada. I want to go to Whistler really bad.
So what was this Whistler? The Whistler would be fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it'd be neat.
Whistler would be cool.
Sorry, I totally interrupted you thanking everyone. That was cool for the shares.
Oh yeah, no worries. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
And what about this Disneyland Diagnosis Kid Song thing? What is that all about?
Gosh, see, look at me. I wasn't even going to go back.
Yeah.
Disneyland. So I went with my family, a month ago or a couple weeks ago. And there's this show like a little kid show. I forget what it's called, but it's this little song and dance thing. And
it's coming back to me now.
Yeah. So we're all we had to sit on the floor, which first of all, I don't know whose idea that was because there's all these grandparents and people of all ages and wheelchairs. And they had a few seats around the perimeter, but everybody else had to sit on the ground. It was
bizarre.
Just weird. At Disneyland, you think they'd have tons of chairs. So we're all sitting on the ground, and there's these different storybooks where the main girl turns the page. I think her name's Casey, her character. But they're turning the pages of these storybooks, and they have a song and dance thing with all these little characters. And one of them was that Doc McStuffins. You probably know nothing about this.
No.
I only know because my little nieces, and there's a I don't know if it's a movie or a show, but it's this little doctor. And they sing a lot about it's time for your checkup. And they make it seem like they're giving this whole song and dance about going to the doctor and how, it's not scary and how they're looking out for your best interest but it's in kid language. So it's trying to teach kids not to be scared to go to the doctor. Okay. Well, that's fine. Cause kids probably need to go to the doctor sometimes, some kids.
Yeah.
And all this stuff. But so it's this Doc McStuffins part, and she comes out, and there's this cute little lamb, and he gets so excited or something that his stuffing comes out the back of him. And so she goes, "Oh, Lammy, you hurt yourself. I'll fix you, So come up on the table." So she puts him on her doctor's table, and she has her little stethoscope. She's a cute little character. I can see why kids like her.
Yeah.
And then she's like, "I have come to a diagnosis." This is what she says
Oh,
in the kids show. I have a diagnosis for you, Lammy. And Lammy's little character is like, what's wrong? And she's like, oh, you got so excited. Your stuffing came out and we can fix that, but I couldn't. And then she goes into a song and dance.
About the diagnosis or? Just
about how to fix him and how he'll be all patched up and he'll be on his way.
Right.
And I was thinking, that is insane. That is so crazy. And there was probably, I am not kidding, probably 1,000 kids in this auditorium or more. And all these parents and grandparents, and you have this whole Disney thing, and you have the main words of that whole thing. I have a diagnosis for you. I thought, isn't that just? It's everywhere. It's everywhere. But I thought, wow, the power in that, to put that as part of the, it wasn't on a movie. This is part of an actor's play at Disneyland. I thought, wow, they don't know what they're saying. Talk about disempowering by saying something like that. And then for kids to glorify that and think, okay, once I get a diagnosis, I'm okay.
Right.
And I had 2 people ask me this week that I ran into, a friend from high school and then someone else that said, hey, how are you feeling? And I said, I'm feeling a bit better. I have my ups and downs with this digestive thing. And they said, did you ever get a diagnosis? Did you ever get like a proper diagnosis?
I wonder where that came from.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. It's like you're hearing it when you're like, a fetus, and then you have all these talks throughout your whole life about like, somebody was diagnosed with this, or I got to go get a diagnosis for that, or at the speech therapy office I'm working at, very small hours every week, we always have to fax things over to the insurance company, and they always say, we need a diagnosis code. Everything's about diagnosing. And I thought,
So you have to give a diagnosis code back to someone, or
back to the insurance to see what they're going to cover as far as speech, whether it's due to, this, that, or the other, what kind of speech they need covered. You need a diagnosis, you need a code. Wow. And I thought, wow, this diagnosis thing is just getting
bizarre, right?
It's weird. I had to really watch out what I was saying, though. Like,
what do you mean during the time? Where, at work or with your Disneyland?
No, just recently with these 2 friends asking me what if I had a diagnosis. I thought, how do I answer this in a way that's like not, judging what they're saying, because they don't know any better. Like they were really caring and they were asking, but it was interesting. It put me in an interesting space in my head to have to really formulate the right answer. Yeah. To be true to what I believe, and not also.
Not be mean to people.
Yeah, not be mean, because you don't want to do that. It was interesting.
Wow. I remember Dr. Massey talking about, he was talking about how all disease really is an invisible process within the body. And there's no such thing as a disease that has a physical form. So the disease, it's in the body that's causing and some sort of, it's caused by an imbalance, but it's causing a disruption in the body, like a tumor or a heart disease or a clogged artery or things like this. These are all the root causes of that is something invisible. And so we are only able to visibly look at levels of things in order to extrapolate conclusions that correspond with the result of what the disease process does. So if someone for example, people die of heart attacks. Well, you can say that almost everyone who dies of heart attacks has high cholesterol. And so the cholesterol is something that we can manage and we can look at, and it's a physical form. But what's causing the high cholesterol? It's always some sort of invisible process within the body. All disease is an invisible process. And the structure, the form, the physical form of our body takes different shapes based on what's going on invisibly. But it's interesting. And so when you want a diagnosis, the diagnosis really is only representing the physical altering of the physical body. So like you've been diagnosed with high cholesterol, but it's not really indicative of anything really other than just that, unless there's something deeper going on.
So how does that fit in with the whole, was it Dr. Massey who also said that the heart attack, who was saying the heart attack is the
the cure?
The cure. That's an interesting theory too.
Yeah, recall healing from Dr. Gilbert Renaud and Dr. Peter DeWitt. Yeah, 2 guests we've had on, and Dr. Massey's very well versed in that as well. But it's a really interesting concept because it flips everything upside down on its head, and the cancer becomes the actual way the body's healing, and the heart attack itself, the stroke, is the body healing itself.
That is such a weird concept, isn't it?
Yeah,
I've never heard that. Like, when do you ever hear that kind of a thing? You're never going to hear that mainstream anything,
No. No, because you can't fix an invisible process. You can only manipulate physical things. But it is so weird. Isn't that so weird with like teaching children to get a diagnosis? Because then you can put a label on something, and then labels have cures and labels have medications that correspond with them. And
dude, right?
Isn't that weird?
It is. Speaking of body, hold on, I'm going to bring up this thing. I heard how Pandora has, how do I get to this real quick? Pandora has ads.
Do they?
Yeah, like they have ad free, but who wants to pay for that or upgrade to that? So,
right,
I mean, sometimes I do, but this time I didn't. But I heard this ad for Athenix. Body Sculpting Institute. And it's local. It's local to us. It's in Irvine.
Well, of course. It's Southern California. Everybody's got to look fabulous. Yeah, you got to look.
And I brought this up earlier, and it's very interesting. The how am I going to say this? The commercial was pretty...
How do you say?
Disturbing. Oh, man. Yeah. I heard it, and it bothered me so much that I wrote a note to talk about it on the show. Because I get what they're saying. They're okay, and you go onto their website, granted, you look at people, they have before and afters of all these tummy tucks and cellulite treatments,
right,
and major things. And you look at it and you're like, yeah, these people, like, they do look better after. There's no denying that usually that kind of a plastic surgery is going to make people look better.
Right.
And you feel bad for some of the people because you're like, yeah, I fortunately am blessed enough to not have to worry about a lot of like the weight issues. Sure, I have cellulite and stuff like that, but I personally don't really care. I'd rather just be healthy. After going through a health thing, you realize what's way more important. Yeah. But I was listening to this this commercial, and what disgusted me was it was like spun in this disgusting way of like, hey, all you moms, remember what your body looked like before you had kids? Remember how great it was to look your best and like basically be sexy, and then you had kids and it ruined your life.
It just ruined everything.
That's what it was like. I mean, I'm not saying those were the words, but that's the message I got. Like, you aren't enough after you have kids. Right. Your body sucks. Everything's flabby and your breasts are sagging and your stomach's like whatever. And okay, sure, you love having a family, but was it worth it? It's kind of like,
really,
they didn't focus on what you get from the process, like who you become or how amazing it is that your body can feed another human being,
right?
Or the process of growing. And I know that's not what they're about. So it made sense that they're not going to put that in their commercial, but it was more like really disempowering to the body of a mother after she has babies. And it was basically like, you're not sexy unless you look like you did before or better. So come in and get our body sculpting or contouring.
And then this horrible thing that happened to you.
Yeah.
And,
it basically ruined your body forever.
Wow.
And you can't be whole again without having your body. It was pretty gnarly. And so then I brought up their site here, and I honestly can't find, where is it?
Should I put it on the podcast, the site, or no?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. But if anybody really wants, they can find it. But basically, I can't find the paragraph that I found like before the show, but it was basically saying like, we value like your friends and family and what it, basically we value the toll it takes on your body, but why should you have to look like that?
Wow.
So I thought, it's just another reminder of like, if we could all just refocus back on what matters. I'm not saying people don't have situations that really need to be addressed.
Yeah,
like
totally.
When you lose 100 pounds, sure, that might be a whole different thing. But to really just like belittle what a woman's body is capable of doing just made me really sad. It made me really sad. And you know what? Like, I have a really good friend who is the most amazing mom I know. And she does just mom. She's really good at letting her kids be their little spirit selves, who they're supposed to be and who they're intended to be. And you could say that she doesn't have the body she did before. And she's just embracing it. She's more like, I'm a little rolly. I don't really care. Like, my husband doesn't care. I don't care. I take, I walk and all this stuff. But like, to her, she'd just rather just fully immerse in being the mom. And that's what she's happy with. So for her, I'm just like, I'm really encouraged by that, though. She's just this womanly embodiment of what it means to be a mother. And it's beautiful.
But just to play devil's advocate too, it's to fully immerse in being a mom. I think a lot of people sometimes let that overtake them too, We see that a lot.
Right.
And we talk about it a
Right.
lot.
And I guess that's not what my friend is, so I wasn't thinking about that, but you're right.
Oh, but you just meant just physically.
Just physically.
Yeah,
She's like,
yeah.
I just have these love marks because of what I've been through, and she embraces them. But no, I totally agree with what you're saying too.
Yeah, it's hard because
when your identity becomes completely wrapped up in something.
It's crazy. Yeah.
We've seen it in our own families. It's like, wow.
Yeah, and it's one of those things too that makes you anytime something makes you feel like you're not enough. That's where the power of advertising is so strong in marketing in our lives, you know. And, you know, I did this video, I sent it out in our newsletter today, but I did this video and I was talking about, because a lot of people write in and they say, oh, I'd love to buy the sauna that we just talked about. I'd love to buy the biomat or Qigong, whatever, all these things that are in our store. And, you know, and a lot of people were writing in saying, I'd love to buy that. I just don't have the money for that. I can't afford that. And so I did this video about like 7 ways you can be healthy. And I just basically said in the video, like, dude, you don't have to buy these things. Like,
right.
I mean, sure, if no one bought any of these things, we would go, you know, we wouldn't be able to support ourselves and we'd have to stop doing the show. So there's a component of on our end that it does help us when you purchase these things. And it helps you guys too, because these products are awesome. But I don't want people to ever feel like they are not enough or they need these things in order to be healthy.
See, that's funny that you just said that, because it takes me back to that commercial I was talking about a few minutes ago. That's what I walked away with. Like, you
need this thing, right?
You need it. You're not enough. That's what was the most frustrating and disempowering part of it all. Right. So same with your health tools. I mean, like, it's basically us agreeing that we aren't enough. Our body can't handle this by itself. We need these things. And that's just, I don't think that's true.
Yeah, I know.
But
it's funny.
Good video though.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
It's funny you were saying, you brought up that diagnosis thing the other day, or just now, because my mom was, she fainted a couple of weeks ago. And in the middle of the night, she got up to go to the bathroom and she fainted. And so she was, went to the hospital and all of that. And so it was interesting because I was talking with her on the phone, and this was before anything came up with the doctors, but she was telling me, I remember telling you this, right?
Yeah.
About, she just wishes that she had a diagnosis.
I know.
Just so that she can know what she's dealing with. And it's just so, I don't know what it is. It's somehow comforting to know what it is you have wrong with you. But it's like,
is it?
I mean, just for the average person to know, like, okay, I want to know what's wrong with me. That's why people go to doctors and to get probes and scans, because they're looking for something that's wrong with them. And so to get a diagnosis, it was like almost like she was uneasy and unable to be at peace or at rest because she didn't know what her diagnosis was. And I was just telling her, Mom, like, what you should do is you should create a diagnosis for yourself. So you tell yourself your own story of what happened. So here's what happened. And could it be an aneurysm? Could it be a stroke? Could it be seizure? Could it be all these things? Yes, it could be. But it also could be blown out adrenals and you got up too quick in the middle of the night.
Right. Because it also could be you're in the desert and you're dehydrated, or that you took a cold and flu medication before bed. I mean,
yeah.
Right.
And so I was just telling her, Mom, what you should do is create your own story. But it doesn't resonate, you know?
Yeah, it doesn't seep into her brain, does it?
No, for the most people, they don't understand like how stories shape us and, you know, how we have control over how we view our body, you know?
I had to do that with myself with this kind of mystery illness still. I think a lot of it's mercury. I think a lot of it's inflammation. A lot of it's just like leaky gut. I have all these things that I've been tested for, you know, and all of them play a part, but I can't get a singular diagnosis. And I've had to come to terms with that. Like, I'm just a chronically ill feeling person. And I have my days still that I just totally take dives, but I seem to come back a lot better. But I've had to tell myself stories. I make up stories. Yeah. Like, okay, sure. My pancreas is hurting today, but it's probably because of X, Y, and Z. And it's not because I'm dying of pancreatic cancer or, you know, you can't go there. Cause even though, you know, with me and my pancreatic enzymes being completely off the chart or whatever that test is, they were, you can't, like, I could not let myself go there. And I didn't want a diagnosis. I thought, I don't want a diagnosis of pancreatic cancer. No. You know, to me is like, I don't want to know. It's almost, to me, you know, you hear those stories about people who kind of just decide they're not going to go out. you know?
Right.
It's like they know they have something, but they don't even go in for testing.
Right.
But they are just like, nope. And they end up getting better because they just never even went into, sometimes doing nothing about cancer, people have done nothing. It saves their life versus having to go in and do all the treatments.
I know, right?
Sometimes leaving it alone for people is, and the power of prayer and positive thinking and becoming healthier.
Because, dude, you get that diagnosis and it's like...
That is what do you say? That's this...
Well, Dr.
There's
Massey's,
a regular diagnosis.
Yeah.
And then there's a second diagnosis, another disease you get when you get the second diagnosis.
Exactly. Yeah.
Crazy. I didn't word that right.
No, it's true. He just says it's a secondary disease. It's the disease that's the most powerful now. It takes the first order, it takes the first seat, it takes shotgun, and it is what now occupies your mind because you're thinking that you're somehow damaged, and this thing is overtaking you, and then you create an attachment with it that's like not just with a label and a diagnosis, but also a camaraderie with it.
Right.
Because you call it your own, and you call it a part of you.
Right.
And it's that getting over that and learning. I mean, that's a whole spiritual practice in and of itself. Is this separation from our bodies and the entire disease process, and yet embracing what they're there for. It's really, man, it's so powerful to overcome that.
I was thinking about that Doc McStuffins thing again at Disneyland, and it's kind of like, why does basically the little lamb, his little stuffing coming out, and the little stuffed guy? He's so cute, lammy. But why did that have to be a diagnosis? You think about kids scrape up themselves all the time. They're scraping their knee. You don't say you're diagnosed with a cut.
Wait, so the alleged illness of this lamb was just that he was cut and his
stuffing was coming out. Mm-hmm.
Where's it? What's that? What disease is that?
But that's what I'm saying. And when you start thinking about the weirdness of it, it's like, I have a diagnosis for you. Your stuffing came out.
Oh my gosh.
And that's just weird to me because I'm thinking, you don't diagnose a kid with a cut or a bruise and then Julio's in the chat room, and I totally agree. He says, I've been teaching my kids to look for the hidden messages in television shows so they don't get sucked in.
Ooh,
and
nice.
He said they're getting better at it than I am sometimes.
We need to teach people how, if they're going to watch TV, we need to teach people how to watch TV.
How to watch TV. Whole course right there. How to watch TV.
That is huge.
And then he goes on to say, once you open your eyes to what's going on, it's hard not to see it. And isn't that true?
Oh yeah.
When you become turned on like this, like the switch flips, things are never the same again.
I know.
So if you can flip on your own switch and then help turn your kids' switches on when they're little, and it will never, I have to tell this story because it goes along with this Doc McStuffin things, but my niece, my little cute niece, she's 2.5 or something? Now she's 3, I think. No, she's 2.5. When she was 2, they go to the doctor, and her and my younger, the baby niece were there, and they go to the doctor, and my sister gets them shots and whatever. They all go home. Well, later that day, she starts playing with her little doctor kit she has. And she comes out into the living room, and she says, excuse me, she makes her fake friends sign in, or her grandparents, my parents. She goes, sign in, please. Do all of your kids have their shots and vaccinations and insurance cards?
Dude.
It's a two-year-old kid. And my parents thought it was hilarious. Everybody thinks it's so funny. And sure, it's funny, but that's not funny at all. Do your kids have their vaccinations, and do they have their insurance cards
and their shots?
Their all that? Like, what in the world?
How bizarre is that?
And she's just been in that doctor's office so many times. That's the first thing they ask. Do you have your insurance information? I didn't know they asked if their kids had shots, which is even weirder. I didn't know that doctor's offices are going to ask for that at the beginning, but disturbing.
And all of everybody was laughing. Like,
oh yeah. And
joke.
I laughed because I was like, oh, cute little girl, like she's adorable, but that is no laughing matter. That is one of the most frightening things
that's programming
I've ever heard come out of a kid's mouth.
That is programming to its finest. So
then you take that and then you glorify this little Doc McStuffins character, about going to the doctor and how great it is. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this is my conspiratorial mind, but conspiring mind.
Tell me your conspiracy.
Well, truly, I mean, with a little kid, of course they're going to have a little doctor. I haven't seen all those shows, but if she's saying, if they have a whole show on her saying how good it is to get your shot, or it'll only hurt a minute, or you need your vaccination, you don't want to be sick, or protect yourself against these viruses, or wash your hands 1,000 times. I mean, all that stuff is sticking into a Velcro mind of a little kid. So, I mean, when you say something at a Disney show about a diagnosis, that word's going to stick with kids. They're going to know when they're playing doctor next time, they're going to be like, what's your diagnosis? I mean, they're just going to be these little robot repeaters.
That's bizarre. Well, you remember back in the day, there was those stamps and there's people encouraging, like during the war, buy war bonds, and
Yes.
Daffy Duck talking about vaccinations and, go get your shots and all that stuff. It's just, it's so...
And that was aimed like for adults.
Well,
Wasn't it?
No, it's for kids, but it was like
kids?
back in the 40s and 50s when they were doing this. But it's just like...
Yeah, and they were saying it was good to be a soldier. They were using those characters as like, it's good to go to war. It's good to, be part of your country and to be vaccinated.
And to be vaccinated and get your shots and go see your doctor and all this stuff. I mean, it goes back to like more doctors recommend Camels than any other cigarette.
Yeah,
and,
more doctors recommend.
There's so much propaganda that is involved with the medical industry, and even just with any sort of, I don't know what you call it, industry or segment of society. We're seeing it now in schools. We're starting to see all these, in the high schools, there's like all these advertisements all over the outside fence, it's so bizarre, right? That they have these fences in high schools.
AKA prisons.
Well,
we found out, apparently, our friend Randall's all into this stuff. And he said that, we've talked about this on the show before, but the same people who build schools are building prisons. Like it's the same structure.
And I mean, I've never looked into that, but he apparently knows all about it. And
if that's true, that's...
I'd like to look into it, but...
Really scary.
I mean, you're starting to see just this integration between just like capitalism and this massive advertising in different industries. Like why is Daffy Duck becoming political, or why are doctors telling you to smoke cigarettes as promoting a product? Why are there these like junk food things in schools? Like why is all this happening? And
right.
And it's really just I don't know. What do you think? Probably
like
just...
Whose business is it? Why are these things merging when they should be these separate... We talked about this yesterday. There was something that should have been separate. The ice cream truck at the kids' elementary school by our house. Yeah.
How bizarre is that?
We walked on a walk last night with Maggie, and we go by and there's a shaved ice like fundraiser at
full of
school.
Genetically modified sugar and GMO
colors,
corn.
Blue Lake number 12's got to be on there.
Yeah, natural flavors, all this horrible stuff.
Why is that at a school? Like, why is a school fundraiser or a treat that the class gets for earning a certain amount of points or whatever? Like, why is that part of school? That doesn't make any sense to me. And
I don't know. I mean, I think it's just a sad state of it's like we're just looking to make money off of any segment of society that we possibly can. It's just comes down to advertising, marketing, propaganda, political agenda. It's just so sad. And like, what was his name in the chat room? Julio. And
Julio's the one, by the way, that sent us the flat earth stuff.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Did he send us the flat earth clues?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. You probably know that. I didn't
Julio,
know.
good job, man.
Woohoo.
That is... Kate and I have both watched it. We usually watch these types of weird things while we're sitting in the sauna. So every time, like, I'll jump on the rebounder and Kate will do the sauna and we'll watch all these weird things. We're going to watch the Wim Hof one. But yeah, why is it that, these things are in our schools and, kids shouldn't go to school and learn, be sold to junk food and all this kind of stuff. It's really bizarre, It's like there's that whole separation of church and state thing that, by the way, isn't implemented. It doesn't seem like at all these days. Right.
It's too weird to me. Like we were talking about sports games.
Right.
Why are you at a football or a basketball game and everyone stands up and puts their hand over their heart and sings God Bless America and salutes to the... I get the whole like, okay, but why are they doing that at a sports game? We didn't go there to pledge allegiance to our country forcibly.
No,
or
we want to go.
If you don't do it, they look down at you. Why are you sitting in your seat? Or what does this have to do with God? What is this? I don't understand.
Why is there this blend between sports, country, and God? Like,
what the heck?
I don't know why we have to blend all those together.
I don't know.
It's really bizarre.
Why are we blending everything together? Why are we blending... Yeah, I still get pissed off about a Bible study I went to years ago. By this woman.
Tell me, Kate.
I'm going to go off right
now.
Tell
me, baby Kate. What do you got?
It really bothered me that it was this awesome group of women doing this really good study at the time. And This woman at the time.
It wasn't good now.
It wouldn't be good now because I have issues with the study we did. But
yeah, all right.
At the time it was okay.
That's another
podcast.
Woman
who, the whole other podcast, the woman who hosted it got really, really weird about having everyone come an hour early to eat dinner that she made for everyone.
Oh, right.
She lived in this ginormous mansion on a hill, and like she had all the seemingly time in the world to prep this meal and make this warm, and it was beautiful, and it's a loving act, and I get why. But she made me feel absolutely this small and guilty if I didn't, and I couldn't eat half the things she was cooking at the time because my digestion was so messed up.
Because that's when you were just sort of going through it, right?
Really struggling with this stuff at the beginning.
Yeah, I remember that.
Really flared up really bad. I couldn't eat all her grains and gluten and things like that looked amazing. But I couldn't eat dairy. I couldn't eat cheese. All these things that were killing me inside.
Right.
And she made me feel so bad about that. And I would sometimes come after the meal part because it was awkward to sit there and either not eat anything or, pick around this food and then have a whole plate that I had to like hide,
Mm-hmm.
But they all looked at me like I had some kind of eating disorder. Like they'd say things about like they make me feel like I wasn't eating and that I was too skinny. I needed to fatten up. I'm like, you guys have no idea what I'm going through in my health. And it was so rude and so belittling.
Wow.
But I thought, why does this have anything to do with Bible study?
Yeah, I came here.
Can't I just come to the Bible study and study
Right.
God's word? Why do I have to why are we making this dinner like a rule that we all have to follow before? It made me feel so horrible.
Yeah,
I'll never forget it. And I thought, why are we merging these two things? Why?
Why? Yeah.
And forcing it. That's fine if you want to have a meal for people and they don't feel bad about taking or not partaking. But
so was it something that she said to you or something the other people?
She'd say stuff, but then everybody else started like, why are you, they'd always question me. And, if I showed up late, the main lady made me feel like I was not part of the group or I wasn't putting in my all because I wasn't there for this, that, or the other.
How bizarre, dude.
But I thought, wow, the merging of things. Yeah, why are we having ice cream and snow cone trucks at an elementary school?
I know.
Show up and have these parties for kids who, I guess we had it when we were growing up in elementary school. Our class, if we behaved a certain amount, we'd have a pizza party.
You get a little snow cone or something.
But why are we, and that brings up a whole other subject, why are we rewarding people with food?
I know.
Food that sets you up as an adult to be like, I had a really crappy day at work. I'm going to go home and I deserve that drink.
Yeah.
I deserve that hamburger. I'm going to eat whatever the heck I want because I deserve it because I worked hard.
Yeah. And you start, it becomes relegated based on food and reward and all that. And it's really bizarre. I think the reason too that we do that in our culture, I don't know. I think there needs to be a blending of these things because it causes people, it gets people more sucked down the rabbit trail. It causes people to become feeling like they're not enough and they get in debt. And that's what the system wants, is for us to be beholden to the benefits and privileges that are given to us. And once you start saying weren't you saying, wasn't there an article by Robert Kennedy Jr. that you wanted to bring up? But it was something about with vaccinations, now they're trying to make it in California, they're trying to make it so that people that even work with kids have to be vaccinated.
That wasn't even his article. I ran into a woman in the parking lot that had her minivan painted all around with just say no to SB 277 or what is it? SB 277.
Yeah.
And all the other things. And she's like, sign the petition about the vaccinations. And I start talking to her in the parking lot. And her two twin daughters that were now 11 had seizures and problems from a very tiny age, and she was just getting all this mercury and chelating things out of them. Horrible story.
Wow.
So there's that, but then this Robert Kennedy Jr. Article in Pathways magazine that we pick up at Dr. Bergman's office, our chiropractor, had a bunch of stuff about, Robert Kennedy Jr. he vaccinated all his kids. All his 6 kids have been vaccinated, he said.
Okay.
Before the year 1986 or whatever, before they started giving you mass amounts more than it seems like a body can handle.
Right.
And, he's talking about the importance of, what's going on now is they're more mercury related than ever. And he's going off about this. But what he was saying is his problem isn't with the vaccines. Whether you want to vaccinate or not isn't the problem. It's what the CDC is withholding from us, the information. So he's giving all these speeches on and traveling around saying, let's work on the bigger issue. Let's know what's in our vaccines. Actually, if people want to have them, that's fine. But let's make sure that we're not poisoning ourselves and that we have access to what's going and penetrating into our skin and our bloodstream.
Yeah. So
it was wild.
Wow. That's interesting. Yeah. Those Kennedys, man.
I wouldn't want to be one.
I would not want to be a Kennedy.
Talk about have a cursed life. And I shouldn't even say that out loud. I shouldn't even say that. But man, they had some rough stuff.
Yeah, I think they were unfortunately trying to do good, and they get taken out. That's amazing. So I would be worried. Well, I don't know about worried, but I'd just be concerned. A guy like him making those kinds of statements. But I agree with him, though. It's like you just want to know what's in these things, you know?
Totally.
What's in these? Dr. Kevin Connors, I shared this on our Facebook site, wrote an article recently. Let me see if I can bring this up here. Let me see if I can find this on our Facebook site really quickly. Let me take a look here. Dr. Kevin Connors.
I love that guy.
Yeah, isn't he great?
He's so awesome.
Let's see here. Yeah, he writes Mercury Sources. And so he contributed an article. Actually, this is for his own website, connorsclinic.com. And let me bring this into the show. And let me just bring this in real quick. Whoops.
Dun-dun-dun-dun.
Yeah, so he does, if you guys are watching this on YouTube, you'll be able to see this, but unfortunately our live listeners can't see it. But natural sources, volcanoes, some stone, man-made sources, dental fillings, vaccinations, pollution. How much mercury is really in a flu shot? Here's what the ICP-MS test revealed. Let's see, 51,000 parts per billion level of mercury found in a flu shot.
What? Say that again?
51,000 parts per billion. I
don't know how that shakes down, but that seems like a lot.
I know, right?
Wow.
Let's see here. Mercury in the environment. So there's different places you can get it. There's accidental releases, emissions from coal-fired plants. Obviously, places like the roads, the freeways and things, you're getting mercury. But it's displacing minerals in your body, and it has reproductive effects, digestive effects, thyroid issues, brain and learning issues. It screws up neurotransmitters, dopamine, serotonin, adrenaline, noradrenaline, your sleep cycles, and it's been correlated with mental illness, ALS, Alzheimer's. So it's amazing that, like,
makes me mental just listening to the list.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's like apparently 140 countries signed the mercury ban, but exclude vaccines and some cosmetics. More than 140 nations have agreed on the first legally binding treaty to curb mercury without setting meaningful controls and reductions on specific cosmetics or vaccines because, quote, no effective, safe substitute alternatives are available. How crazy is that?
It's interesting that an email just popped up right now from Sean Croxton's newsletter saying, did vaccines cause the rise in autism? And then in parentheses, he says, I don't think so.
Wow.
Want me to read the first line?
Yeah.
I used to think that vaccines caused autism. To me, it was a slam dunk. Vaccines and their toxic ingredients were the obvious culprits, and no one could convince me otherwise. But as time went on, I became less convinced. I guess you can say that I was, quote, on the fence about it, not completely certain, yet still concerned about the impact of the expanded vaccine schedule on the health of our children. After spending the past couple of weeks intensely studying the historical timeline of autism and Asperger's, I can no longer sit on that fence. Interesting. And then he goes on and on and on, and I'm wondering what... He says, yes, I'm fully prepared for the barrage of hate mail headed my way today.
Wow.
But he says his on Facebook posted recently, my opinion changes with new information. And then he goes on and on to talk about why he thinks this.
So what is he saying? That he thinks that there may not be a correlation between vaccinations and
the rise in autism.
Really?
Interesting. If you guys, his stuff's pretty good too. If you guys don't belong to his email list, you might want to sign up for Sean Croxton. We love that guy. I'm curious to see what he says because I value his opinion, but
yeah. But again, like everything else, it's just an opinion.
It's a voice.
Yeah, just another voice.
Everything's a voice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Wow.
Interesting.
Amazing stuff. So yeah, is there anything else that we need to get to here today?
I need to get to lunch.
Get to lunch?
I'm starving.
You're hungry, huh?
I am hungry today.
So is that article by Dr. I'm sorry, not Kennedy, Robert Kennedy Jr., is that article available online, do you know?
You know, I'm not sure about that. Let me look up and see if Pathways Magazine is online.
Pathway Magazine?
Let me see. Pathways
Magazine. All right. I think that is about it. How's everybody doing in the chat room?
People are awesome in the chat room. Today's been really fun. Tana informed me, I did not know. Do you know there's a Category 5 hurricane headed toward Puerto Vallarta right now? Hit today. It's going to hit today.
Really?
And she and her husband, Trey, our friends, were supposed to be there, and they pulled out last minute. Isn't that scary?
Wait, what happened? So they were supposed to be, Tana, you're supposed to be there? And
Yep.
Oh my God.
So there's been a lot of chat about that, and they have friends that are down there. It sounds pretty sketchy. So we're going to pray that everyone stays safe. I had a friend that was down there the last time one hit. Was it a year ago maybe? Mm-hmm. And she was in the stairwell of a hotel for 2 days. 2 days. My gosh. Scariest moment of her life. And she made it, but it's really sketchy.
This time of year is not the time of year to be down in those parts.
Down in those parts.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Wow. Good thing. So Tana was going to be there?
Yeah. So thank God that you are safe, Tana, and in the chat room today.
Yeah, Jenny joining us in the chat room. Thanks everybody for being a part of the show today.
Right on. That was so fun.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Next week we're going to have Mr. George, what is his name? Winand?
Yes, Mr. George Winand.
How do you say it? Winand?
Winand?
Yeah, we're going to be talking about some interesting things that he's doing at a place called NeuroWaves. And he uses interesting technology, right? Like the Rife machine and scalar waves and energy medicine. And
George was my first introduction to the woo-woo voodoo world of
energy, whatever.
Yeah, he did a lot of muscle testing. I mean, this stuff was so out there to me 10 years ago when I saw him or whatever that was.
So it's interesting because you felt comfortable with him because he's a Christian.
Yeah.
Right, and so you felt comfortable. Because, hey, here's this Christian, but he's believing some weird, strange stuff. What's going on here?
Yeah, and then it kind of opens Pandora's box, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm open now. I'm a wide open box. But I'll tell you, it always takes that one person. He was one of the very first people. And I thought, wow, you can be whatever you want to be. You can believe as a Christian and still have, this stuff going. So.
Right.
And still have some sort of a, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a conscious. If it's George, I can't wait to have him on. It's going to be cool.
Yes, I know, right?
Cool.
Yeah, so he's going to be in studio. I think he's going to bring his wife, and he's going to bring his daughter, who's a naturopath, and we're going to have a big fun time here in the studio.
Big fun time.
Yeah.
We're all about big fun.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that, right?
No. It was really fun, you guys, in the chat. Thanks, everybody, for your comments and love.
Yes.
We feel very excited about all this. Oh, and Ty Bollinger's, man.
Oh, yes.
There's been some talk about his Truth About Cancer in the chat, and man, is it good.
Yeah.
He is definitely inspirational and worth sharing with your family and friends. It's going on right now, and we don't know how long you can buy it for after it's done, but it's worth it.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. If you guys,
well done, Ty.
Yeah, I would highly recommend registering for the summit and buying it and sharing it with your friends and family, because it's so empowering. It's so freaking awesome to know that there's people out there doing great things like that, and just bringing to the table ideas that you're not going to hear from your doctor.
Yeah, exactly.
These are ideas that you're not going to be told. You're not going to be told anything about blood sugar balances, energy medicine, Gerson therapy, these types of things. You're not going to be told that from your doctor.
Right. They just don't know. They're ill-informed and ill-equipped because they're so busy.
Yeah. So I would highly recommend registering for that. And if you have the money to buy it, there's different level packages. So you can get them, I think, as low as like $47 for the interviews. But man, if you get them, you can pass them on to your friends, and that's where the power is when you start sharing this.
We've shared them with family, and people have gained a lot from them.
Good stuff. So anyway, thanks everyone for joining us. We really appreciate it. Thanks for perusing our store. Thank you for all of you that donate to us on Patreon. That is very, very much appreciated. We just can't thank you guys enough for that. It really means a lot to us. Kate and our eyes light up when we get a new patron and someone who supports our show. And then also thank you guys for bookmarking our Amazon link too. Yeah. That means a lot to us. And nothing changes for you. It doesn't cost you anything. And all it means is that if you bookmark our Amazon link, we'll get a little commission for all of your orders. So if you go through the bookmark in your browser, if you bookmark our link, you'll be able to support us anytime you make a purchase there on Amazon. And
you get stuff, we get a little commission. And I also have a dog trying to jump up on my lap right now. Can you make it?
Show.
Come here. You want to make it up? Come here. Cute Maggie. Come here. Her wagging tail.
Bring her up.
I'm trying. Come here.
Maggie.
Come here.
Well, anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it so much, and we love having you guys. Maggie's made an appearance.
So
now.
for the people watching the video, here's Mag Noodle. Look, she's having a really great day at the office.
Maggie's not so good. But anyway, guys, thank you guys for listening. If you're listening to us. Oh, wow. And we really appreciate you guys a lot. And we're going to be doing much more stuff here on YouTube. And we're going to be doing all kinds of new things on our radio show. So stay tuned. And we've got lots of great guests coming in. We're going to try to do the bulk of our shows on live in-person video. So. Right. We're moving towards that. And so maybe, I'm not sure if the video portion will be live, but on YouTube, all of our shows are going to be on video now. So
I think it's kind of fun. People can really see what we look like and how we do life. And they can see this cute weenie dog.
Little puppy dog. So yeah, thank you everybody for joining us. Really, really appreciate it. And it just means a lot to us. So if you can, please pass our show on to your friends. Please share our information on Facebook. If you see a post that you like that we share on Facebook, please consider sharing it, because that helps us in the show to really spread the message of this alternative health and natural living and things like that. So we really appreciate that a lot. Is that about it?
I think that's a wrap.
That's a wrap?
As they say, as you say.
As they say. All right. Thanks, everyone.
And we will catch you guys on the next episode.
Look at you.
You like that little... If Maggie had fingers, she might be able to...
If she had opposable thumbs, maybe she could do that.
Love you guys.
Yeah, thanks, guys.